What's going on, glorious people? Hope you're having a glorious day. So I just got a message from someone asking about helping dealing with breakups. Or like, I think you would probably have some good advice. And like, me? How could I have it? But no, the truth is I do. Thank you for reaching out. And I love the fact that in this channel, you guys ask me what you want and I can just make a video real quick and get it out to you. I also have plenty of plans. I have so many ideas that I want to do. But I do want to talk about this. This is a big thing and I've never done a video about this. So I have since found the love of my life, but I have been through many breakups before. So I feel like I've understood what it really takes to find the person that you really want in your life, but even more so, how to just get over those people that you thought that you wanted and be able to move forward. So the first person I ever really dated, of course I've dated many women, but like when I look at my relationships, including now, I've had 3 like serious long-term, meet the family with for years kind of relationships. The first one was in high school, and it was the first person that I ever loved, and like she totally changed my world because I had never had that before. And so when we broke up, it was really hard. Like I remember thinking like, I'm marrying this person. Like for me, when I'm with someone, I'm not screwing around. It's not like, oh, I'm with them, but I'm looking like, no, it's like if I'm with a person, I truly believe like that's it. So at the time I really thought like this is the person that I'm going to spend my entire life with. So we basically, we went to college. We both went to separate colleges, and I'm still thinking like, yeah, everything's cool. And I felt like maybe something was a little weird with her, but I was too young to fully understand what. So I went to school, and within a week, the first week we were just fighting a lot. We were on the phone. Like I was jealous. Like, oh, you're going to this party. You're hanging out with this guy. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm freaking out. So it just like the first week of college, I just did not. I just wasn't really present. I was just kind of insecure and waiting for her phone calls and stuff. And it's many years ago. I'm trying to put myself back in this state. I've since then, tucked that long away. So I'm in this situation, and one day we just had this call and we kind of talked and were really honest, and it was just like we were moving in different directions, and she admitted it, and she was kind of been like just exploring other outlets and other men and whatever, and just starting to like realize that she's in school, and it just kind of like, okay, well, this is over, and we're both crying, and then I left, and we parted ways on pretty good terms. And I remember going upstairs, and I was walking, I was really sad, I was like crying and just like, oh, I hate myself, oh, my life's over. And I heard music coming out of this kid's room, and I just walked in, and I was like, oh, like, you guys playing music? And they're like, yeah. And at the time I really only knew like Dave Matthews and Fish, and my 2 bands I really enjoyed at that time. And that happened to be the music they were into. So I started jamming out, and like next thing you know, I'm just connecting with these guys, and we're playing songs, and we're singing, we're just having the time of our lives. And I kind of forgot about the breakup. But then, reality sinks back in. I'm like, oh wow, this is really over. And I told my friend, and he was like, really actually happy for me. Like, dude, the classic, like, dude, you're free. Like, we can go out and party. This is college. We're freshmen in college. Like, we have we can do whatever we want. And I was like, wow, you're right. But so I went out, I had some fun, but what was happening is I was still talking, I was still reaching out. I don't even know if text was really a thing back then, but I was reaching out to my, ex-girlfriend, and I would call her, and it was just weird. Because it's like, we said, on the phone, like, we'll still be friends, and that's kind of the classic, like, I don't want you out of my life, I just can't date you anymore, let's still be friends. And so I tried that, and apologies first, I'm having like a very odd hair day, but no big deal. So I'm like, let's just, be friends, and it just wasn't working. And she's like, listen, like, we need to have separation. Like, we can't just go from being in love and in a relationship to just being over, like, but being able to talk. Like, there needs to be some kind of boundary, some kind of break here. And even though it was really hard, like, we're not going to talk, I thought we were going to be friends, I thought things were cool. It was true, because anytime I talked to her, like, I didn't know what space to come from. I'm like, am I coming as, what does a friend mean? I'm used to being, your boyfriend. So, boom, gone. 6 months, we did not speak, and that was really tough for me. It was very hard, but I was going out, and I was dating, and I was exploring in my life, and just also having a really good time. And the biggest thing that I really got out of that, and what I saw other people struggling with, I remember going from like being the guy on the phone, like in the dorm, like in a fight with his girlfriend, to like seeing that happening and being like, I'm so grateful that is not me. Because our relationship at the end, I realized, got bad, and it was not a healthy relationship. It was my first relationship, and I did not know who I was. I didn't know much. So the first tip that I learned was, if you did go through a breakup, do not have contact with that person. Don't do the friend thing. Like that might be hard, but you need time. Maybe one day. I'm not saying you won't ever be, even though I just don't. I stay away from that. I don't think it's right. I'm not saying that's up to you though, but take at least a long period of break and say, listen, we need to get each other out of our lives, because the more that person's energy hangs around, the harder it's going to be for you to get over them. So that was the first thing I learned. Let me fast forward to my second relationship, and it was in college, and we dated for 2 years, and she went through some really tough stuff with the girl I was dating, and the very intense personal things that happened to her, very traumatic stuff. So because we had gone through so much, and I just kind of was like, we're not going to break up. Like we had this special bond, but then same thing happened. I moved to New York, and she, moved to she went to school. I was graduating. She was younger than me. She was going to a new college, and it just like I went to visit her a couple times, and it was just something was off, and we were fighting on the phone a lot, and then I was kind of pulling away, and I realized I went to school, so I didn't like. She went to school and I went to New York, and I didn't want to be in a relationship, but I also didn't want to like hurt her, it was just very confusing at the time. We finally broke up, and then we got back together for a little bit, and then that was just weird, and that never works, and then we finally officially broke up for good. And I remember on the morning, like the night before I was supposed to go visit her, and she was being really weird because we were still together, and I was like, I'm so excited to come see you, and she's like, yeah, I'm just not really feeling well, like I'm not sure if you should come, and I was like, no, like I'm coming, like I really want to see you, and I also sensed something off. And then she's like, okay, listen, I need to tell you something. I've been having feelings for this other guy, and it's I don't know what to do. Like we're together, and it doesn't feel right to be with you and have these feelings, and that was really, really hurtful. And I was upset, and kind of like this sort of, how could you, like I'm gonna fight for this, and like you can't throw me away. And then I went to bed, and I think I wrote her. No, I told her all this stuff. And then something just like, I think that next morning I wrote her a letter, like saying reiterating, like, this isn't over, like I really want to make this work, and we can do it, and we have so much between us. And then I went to work, and I started writing, and I wrote everything out in my head, everything I had never really expressed. I was never a writer, I didn't even understand writing, and I just started writing and writing and writing. And then everything clicked. It's like, wow, like this is what I wanted. Like I've been fighting this because of this fear of being alone, but I actually have been wanting this for a long time. So I came home that day and wrote her. I was like, listen, apologies for that email. Like everything is great. We'll get over this. I love you and I care about you, but like we need to live our own lives. This has been great. Like no, bad feelings between us. Boom, over. And that was it. Didn't speak to her again for a very, very long time. And then even when we talked again, it was like a quick text just to see like, hey, how's life going? Good, great, cool, goodbye. So yeah, the thing about breaking up is when you're in a relationship, that becomes your life, and your friends maybe change, the dynamic you have with your friends, the dynamic you have with your family, your whole life shifts around because you find this person that you can actually create this world with, and you go into your world, and depending on how healthy the relationship is, you might want to spend more time with them, and if it's not healthy, maybe you like isolate yourself from all your friends, and maybe you have that whole thing to deal with. So now all of a sudden, you're ever this relationship, and that was the only person in your life, and you have no friends anymore, and your friends feel like you've ditched them, and there's so many like scenarios that can come up. But the biggest thing that I've seen is everything that happens in your life, is there to help you grow. So any relationship you had, as you're finding the right relationship, as you're going through these steps, all these other ones are there to help you see, okay, what is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? How was I treated? What was the relationship and the dynamic that I created with this person? Because when you come into a relationship, you bring in all your baggage. You bring in all the stuff that like, your parents and their like all the stuff that I was talking about in that parent video, you put that kind of on yourself, and you don't just meet the person as you are in this moment. You meet them with all of your fears and your insecurities. And a lot of relationships, there's this joke that Chris Rock talks about. He's like, when you meet like a girl for the first time, like they don't meet you, like they meet your representative. It's like the person that you wish you were. That's who you send forward. And he's like, and then you spend the rest of your relationship trying to like cover up those lies. And it's not to say you mean to do those things or you're like a bad person, but a lot of us come in and we kind of act cooler than we are, and we act like we don't show the sides that we want to show. And people do this a lot. They kind of create this figure, and they get into this relationship because they're afraid that if they're honest with who they are, there's certain, we all have those weird things. We're like, I think if I told this person that, they'd run away. So we make sure that we get super close with them first, and then at that point, it's like, we're 6 months into this, now I'm going to start sharing some of this truth, and then at that point, the person's so close to you, like maybe they're less likely to run away. But you live with those sort of secrets, and we all have our secrets, and we all have those things that we're too afraid to really be honest about. But truth is, if you're in a relationship and you can't have that communication, if you can't be completely honest with a person, if you can't stand there and say, this is me, like, sort of love me or leave me thing, then it's not going to ultimately work out in the long run. And all those relationships before are leading up to that. So maybe you're sad and you're in a breakup and it's like, I feel, horrible right now. Like, I don't want to live, whatever it is. Like, I've been through all those things. I've been super depressed for months, even at times, and didn't know where to go, didn't have any place to turn. That's one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, is because you are not alone. Like, I've been there. I have so many friends who have been there. I've been in horrible, weird, situations with women and just like stuck and not knowing what to do. But then, one day I meet this person that completely changes my entire life. And that doesn't mean that our relationship was always easy. There's been so many struggles and, crazy, wild things that have happened to us that we've had to deal with and work through. But the difference is in this relationship is that my wife is willing to work through those things with me. And we've committed to each other to never actually go anywhere. Like, it's like, whoever you are, like, I'm coming here to meet you as you are. I love you unconditionally. So maybe I have fears and I'm basically going to run away, but like, we're going to work through this. We're going to figure it out because we are committed to each other. And I never had that in the past relationships. So the reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to know, if you've heartbroken right now, or if you've been heartbroken, first off, like, create that distance. You have to trust that someone new is going to come into your life. And if your life is always going forward, it's like food. If you're always getting healthier, slowly changing your lifestyle, starting to learn how to cook, starting to like just get more confident in your own skin, you're going to be attracting more and more people. Because the way that I see relationships is, it's like a mirror, right? So you kind of mirror the people. You bring in certain types of people. That's why girls are like, how come I'm always dating like assholes, or I'm always like dating a nice guy, or whatever it is. Like, you kind of create this mirror in your life and you bring in certain types of people. And the more you keep bringing in the same people and going through the same cycles and all, like, you're never going to change. You need to find a way to break that and look at yourself and say, who am I really? What games am I playing? Who do I really want to be? Because at some point you have to stop playing games with people and stop just like looking around casually and casually dating, and really like buckle down and say, I need to get my own stuff straight. Because once I get my own life straight in my hands, well, then I can start looking for that person. I don't even have to look. Like, they will come and they will manifest to me because I feel good. I feel confident in myself. If you're looking for someone else out there to make you feel good, that's probably one of the reasons why you're upset in a breakup, is because this person actually made you feel something that no one else ever has, right? So it's like, where did that go? Well, those true feelings of happiness, the lasting feelings, they don't come from elsewhere. And I used to think they did. It's like, if my relationship's good, I'm good. It's like, no, I need to be good so I can create a good relationship with another person. And as you start to become better and better, you're going to mirror in and attract more and more people that will meet you on that level and meet you on that level of honesty. So take this time to really get clear with who you are. What are the things you want? Whatever you need to do to get over that person. If you need to write out your life story, or burn it, whatever the ritual that you want to create. I think something like that. First off, writing I think is the best, but any ritual that you want to create to get over that, and create that distance for yourself, I think is super powerful. But then at the end of the day, focus on yourself and know that like that person was there to teach you a lesson. And if it didn't work out, even though it's sad, that means you're going to find someone better. You're going to find someone better for you. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them, but you're going to find someone who's more in line with who you are and who you're becoming. Every relationship that's ended for me, I've grown so much because of it. And to be able to be vulnerable and go in to that potential of heartbreak. Anytime you go into a relationship, there's this potential that you could lose it all. There's a potential that you could break your heart and shatter it in a million pieces. But anytime that happens, you actually have a chance to grow, because that means you did something. It's not the things that we want that define us. It's the things that we're willing to struggle for and actually make it over that define us. Of course, everyone wants, I want a beautiful wife, I want lots of money. It's like, yeah, of course you want all those things, but are you willing to go through the struggles that it will take to get there? Are you willing to go through the struggles that it will take to have a great relationship, or do you just want a great relationship now? So think about that and realize that the great relationship starts with you. There's no better person out there that's just like this, okay, I'm with this person, they're pretty good, but there's someone better. It's like, no, You need to just focus on yourself, and then you will attract that. I hope this helps some. It's really helped me, and know that everything's going to be okay. I feel for you, person that reached out. I don't want to share your name, but I do feel for you, and anyone else that's been in a breakup. It is super hard. Take the time to feel those feelings. Don't be like upset that you're upset. Just sit there, be there with it, and know that everything's going to be okay. Know that there's someone waiting there special for you. You just have to take the time to kind of heal up yourself and find a way to make peace with that relationship. You know, if there were some bad things, make the peace, whether it's writing, or even if you had that one final conversation with that person and say, this is it, but here's what I need to get off my chest, boom, and things will be okay. Life is great. When you find your partner, and you know they're the one, you'll look back on those other relationships and be like, wow, I cannot believe that I thought that I was going to marry this person. That would have been horrible. So much love to all you guys.